Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the weekly Steelchair, brought to you on the weekly Armchair Sports Talk. And of course, it's your ever-present People's Champion. It's Reece, of course, the host of the show, my child, of course. And of course, I'm brought by my ever-present co-host. It's the fantastic heel turn that is Eilidh, or she might turn babyface. We'll find out. I'm hoping not. I prefer her as a heel. Because we get a lot of promos out of her.
We'll find out if I am feeling in an evil mood today. But no, I'm doing pretty well myself, Reece, and we're ready to crack into another week. We've obviously got the Survivor Series review. What did we think of War Games? Again, face or heel? Because people, they say it. Maybe negativity is something in the Chambers family tree, because I thought, here's Mr. Positive Greg, and I thought when I'm here, I'll be able to bring some positivity and show that we're not all like that. And instead, I'm pretty much as miserable as he is. But I'm happy to be here. We'll see if I'm happy to have been here by the end of the show. But how are you doing yourself, Reece?
I am doing very well, thank you. Busy week. Had a lot to do. I did a watch along on my main channel the other day, and it's past 1,000 views. I done a World Cup watch along. It passed 1,000 views on the same day, which is absolutely mental. I didn't expect that to happen, but
making million-dollar moves.
I thought I would just do a little bit more for my channel. I don't want it to just be gaming all the time. I want to mix up a little bit, but obviously this is where my main Saturday's at, preparation throughout the week, of course, for our shows. But I love having something else to do on the side that's more of a hobby. Spend a lot of time making people happy as well, work as well, and just trying to do the right things by people. Really, that's all I'm trying to do. But I appreciate asking, thank you, and I hope you've had a good week. We do have some people in the chat already. It is our regulars, so what's up, Abel? Good to see you.
The quiz champ, he's here.
Shockingly. And he also won the watch-along quiz as well. He beat Keane by a couple of points. And Yeti Boy, good to see you as well, buddy. And Abel saying the Messiah of the chat, the Ripcord King, is here. I'll embrace your presence.
With part like that, Abel, we need to get you on this show one day.
You never know. Like us, if you've seen my tweet, I know Eilidh doesn't, because Eilidh doesn't use Twitter, because Eilidh's...
Stay away from that.
Exactly. There is on that tweet, there is a special announcement, or big announcement more or less, and that will be coming at the end of the show. So to everyone that's watching, really do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Keep an eye out, because I'll be telling you exactly what that is. Today's show is, as you can see in the thumbnail, we are reviewing War Games. WWE have also announced some big returns. Two emphatic returns, I should say, that really will matter, especially in the long term. We will be discussing AEW's World Champion. Actually, we're going to be opening the show with AEW's World Champion, of course. Yep. And there will be a short quiz as well, as we know, by Eilidh, which is ever present. So everyone in the chat, get involved, get your answers in. Eilidh will be marshalling the chat. And then after that, as we come to a close, I will be bringing my announcement. I'll be bringing the announcement.
Yeah, and if that ain't a juicy steak to hold on for, I don't know what is. But to start with, you asked face or heel. You all right, Billy?
Good to see you, mate. And
all right, even better. We'll see if you can do it again today, bud. We'll see if you can do it again.
Good to see you guys. We really appreciate it. But yeah, stick around, get your comments and get your questions. I'll be marshalling the live chat until the quiz. But apart from that, big show. We're going to be here for about an hour and a half. But one thing is for sure, there's a lot to get through. Get your comments in, get your opinions on Survivor Series as well. Give us your opinions on MJF, and once we get to it, we will be doing the big WWE returns. So I'm going to split them into banners. So I'm just going to bring up the first one now, because obviously this is important. The first one, of course, is this man, and I'm going to throw over to Eilidh for this one. Over to you, because I know you want to discuss MJF.
I mean, like, do I need to do like the standard, I'm in the white room already. Do I need to sort of start with a sigh? Is this like another YouTube apology video that I need to do now? If you look at some of the biggest YouTubers, I would say, our personalities have got about to that level where this will be trending on social media platforms I don't use. I was apparently wrong, people. I was apparently wrong about one Maxwell Jacob Friedman because I said that MJF was going to be babyface.
Yep.
And he would win the belt in a very babyface way.
He was right.
So, Reece, you may have been right, but we know from the quizzes that that's not usually the way these things go. Yeah, well, I mean, it's to get heat, and everything that he did was to get heat. So he is a heel, or at very least, he acts very heelish.
Absolutely.
The issue with that is he's not being booed.
Yeah, he is. If you want to think about characters in that sense, I think there's one good example of a world champion who never got booed, even though he was supposed to be a heel. I don't know if I don't think you'll have known this one because obviously, like you said, it was WCW. But Sting 1999, Sting turned heel at Fall Brawl. It was the rumors up to Fall Brawl. Who can you trust? It was Sting, Hulk Hogan, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan and Lex Luger. And Bret Hart was involved as well, because obviously Bret Hart was working between heel and babyface because Bret Hart was just useless after. Bret Hart was pretty much just useless after the Survivor Series, so didn't really do much. But anyway, leading up to Fall Brawl 1999, the whole thing was who can you trust? Hulk Hogan, obviously, for the past couple of years was working heel in the NWO. Turns on then, goes back to being a babyface. The black and white, the black and red, obviously with the Wolfpack and NWO Elite and all that was kicked off. He went back to the red and yellow, and Lex Luger was trying to spin it with Hogan saying just because he's gone back to being the Hulkamania gimmick, you can't trust him. And it was purely who will Sting trust? Will he trust his friend Luger or will he trust Hogan? Okay. It gets to Fall Brawl. Luger comes out. Hogan steals the bat off Luger, but then Sting pulled out a bat of his own, and Sting actually gutted Hogan in the ribs. And then obviously he won by submission. Hogan was knocked out after being put in the Scorpion Deathlock. Sting turned heel, but Sting was not booed. Sting was not booed. He was still, even though he was acting like a heel, he was cheered by the fans because obviously they wanted to see Sting become a 12-time world champion. And he was overall a 12-time world champion. He was a 9-time WCW champion. And his title reign lasted for about a month. Ridiculously how it ended to Goldberg, but then the title was vacated, and then you got Bret Hart winning the title.
That's WCW with its title. We know what it was like. My point with the MJF thing and not being
that's my best way to describe it.
They set this up really strangely. Like they set it up almost nonsensically.
Fantastic. He was fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen footage of that because we were supposed to boo MJF. And you're right, Yeti Boy, because this isn't MJF's fault. He's trying his best. The problem is, I feel like the fan base in AEW is too smart.
Yeah, and I think they recognise that, and I agree.
Like the AEW fan base, parts of it are going to be like, when CM Punk was still being cheered, even though he was like this toxic heel, just this absolutely deplorable person. And there were still fans that would cheer him because he was CM Punk. MJF's going to have that fan base, and it's going to stretch outside of Long Island because it's one thing if he's going to be face in Long Island and heel everywhere else.
I agree. He was overrated in WWE when he done virtually nothing. But when he was in Japan, he was actually working proper wrestling matches.
And if you don't believe, give that accolade to the Warrior personally. But anyway, back on MJF. Yeah, I just feel like the heel turn didn't work because he punched William Regal in the back of the head. And instead of the fans feeling like, oh my word, you did that to wrestling legend William Regal. Remember, Bryan Danielson tried to set this angle up last week. When he was like, don't hurt him, because William Regal is this hero and I don't know what I would have done without William Regal and he saved my life, stuff like that. And Danielson almost got booed. No, I don't think I've ever said Brock's overrated. I said he's boring.
That's very true.
If I have ever said that Brock's overrated, I
don't think you have. I've never heard you say it.
In the heat of the moment, what I said was Brock's boring, especially as world champion. Anyway, MJF's whole thing was knocking out William Regal. And William Regal was a heel. So we're supposed to boo a heel knocking out a heel, and it didn't happen. The fans cheered MJF punching William Regal, and then almost went into this hushed sort of concern when they realised that William Regal was being stretchered out. That then became more interesting when we heard about old Mr. Regal himself, and what could be around the corner for him, because, of course, reports are coming from all over the place now. It seems all but confirmed, Reece, that William Regal is on his way back to WWE.
Absolutely. We'll be coming to that very shortly. And there's another return that's actually looming as well that I'm very excited for, because it's funny enough that I mentioned that return. Was it last week, the week before? I said it before anybody else reported it, funnily enough.
Potentially. You know, you've got the inside scoop, or you put a great guest down, but we'll find out. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the Burberry belt is obviously a thing to get heat, so I'm fine with it. That's a heel trying to get heat. The problem is people are going to ironically cheer it. When MJF first came face to face, Regal told MJF to punch him from behind, but he didn't. He waited till he won the title, then hit him. It's good storytelling. Yeah, and it'd be great storytelling if the fans were on board with it. But I feel like you had to wait. If you wanted MJF to actually get heat, he had to stay off the show for 5 or 6 weeks. People had to get this. MJF isn't going to be on the show every week thing. Because when he's on the show immediately, well, not immediately after, but the one after that one, he's still going to get cheered. If they waited until like New Year's Slam, or I still don't know what it's called, but the Dynamite at New Year, if that was when MJF made like a State of the Year address, or State of AEW address, whatever it is,
you get a lot from that as well if it was purposely delayed.
You get booed out the building. The problem is, every time MJF has grabbed headlines recently, it's not been to get booed. He was cheered when he took Regal's brass nuts and won the world title. Yeah. And he was cheered when he knocked William Regal out, because MJF is on that CM Punk level in terms of personality and being over with the fans. Yeah. So it doesn't necessarily matter at the moment what MJF does. MJF needs to now lean into the stuff that he was saying. I'm going to wrestle very rarely. I'm going to appear very rarely. And usually when I do wrestle, you'll have to pay out a lot of money. Basically, follow the Brock Lesnar model, and that will get him booed. Because if he's one of these heels that's on the show every week, he's not going to get booed. Because people find him too funny, too entertaining, and there isn't enough else on AEW for people to cheer.
He's in the position The Rock was in the late 90s, where The Rock was
a cool heel, where it's like he was too cool to get booed by everyone. And people found his one-liners funny. And he was so much better at promos than everyone else. Like, it wasn't a contest. So
and it naturally turned him heel because of that. It'll be the same for MJF, except it'll be a different grandeur for their company, because obviously they're still growing as well as a company. They need something.
Like, does he get booed this week?
No.
It's Winter is Coming, is it?
It is, yeah.
So does he get booed against Ricky Stark?
I don't think he'll
care about Ricky Starks, but he'll get the heat.
Well, they cared enough to make Ricky Starks the number one contender. But
which was a smart move if you're going to turn MJF heel, but I feel like you had to deal with the firm first.
Yeah, I don't think they've got a clear idea of what. I don't think they've got enough to do it.
I don't think they knew what they were doing when they made the firm. I think they just needed someone. They needed something that would give MJF that moment of being the devil and unmasking.
And it completely backfired now in the end.
But he could have just, like, if everyone was knocked out, he could have just walked down and done it himself.
I agree. And this is why I think...
Yeah, and then you wouldn't need to have a sperm
fantastic. Yeah, exactly. And the comments in the chat are fantastic. Like Billy saying, we were talking about Blackpool Combat Club, like about changes in their status as well. We've been speaking about that in past couple of weeks, and Billy, you're spot on. Yeti Boy
couldn't book a taxi. Love that.
Yeti Boy as well saying that he always tells lies. Yeah, he doesn't tell the truth. He doesn't. He's not a truthful person when you look at his character, which is perfect.
And really, you should boo a guy for lying. MJF trying to emulate on the level of Brock becoming a spectacle, not going to work. Yeah, I suppose because he doesn't have the... But he wants to be that legitimate guy. So why can't he just be deluded? That would get him booed more. If he was deluded to the point where he's like, I'm a main event attraction on the level of... I was going to name the current UFC champion, but I don't know. I've lost
He could
track.
say... He could basically say he's on the level that Chris Jericho was when Chris Jericho first joined AEW. Because at the time, nobody, like, all due respect to anybody on the
card, he actually needs to say he's on the level of like Tyson Fury, or Mike Tyson, or Muhammad Ali. He needs to be that level of deluded if he wants to get booed. Because if he's going to be this cool and cocky heel, he's always going to get these half and half chants. And this is a guy who could get what Jim Cornette would call tire cutting heat.
Oh, yes.
He very easily could do it, but I think the fan base is too smart to it. Yeah, that quote. So the thing is, Yeti Boy, that Cody Rhodes quote absolutely killed them from the off. You know, we don't believe in faces and heels. Those tropes are dead in modern wrestling. That's why Judgment Day aren't getting just booed, except they are. Judgment Day is like the one act I've heard recently that's just been booed.
Booed out of the building.
They don't get cheered. None of them do. Rhea, they're like, oh, you're cool. And then the minute she gets into the ring, she realizes, no, you're not cheering me. You know, and this was something Chris Jericho was so good at. And it's something The Miz is so good at. Don't cheer me. You're not meant to cheer me. And they think of little ways to stop that happening. I don't know what MJF's got. His offense is too flashy. His promos are too funny. And he's going to be on the show too often because I don't know who else Tony Khan can put on the show.
Well, he's overused John Moxley.
And John Moxley wants a break, doesn't he?
He does.
Like he's going on holiday or just taking a leave of absence and stuff because he wanted to take his leave of absence when Punk won it all out, and then he came back as a favor.
Do you know who they've actually missed a trick on? It's a damn shame that it may not happen for a very long time because we don't know the full story. Adam Cole. Yeah,
well, I think Adam Cole, we've still not heard anything. So I'm
all I know is
he's still
recovering. All I know is he's still recovering. That's it.
I'm starting to fear the worst for him, and
I think he's done. I think he's professionally done. I don't think you'll ever see him back in the ring again.
I certainly don't think you'll see him back in an AEW ring.
I don't think
he wants to go back to wrestling. He'll go back to WWE because they work safer. He can work a reduced schedule. He could be on the Nakamura type deal, you know, AJ Styles type deal.
Absolutely.
WWE fans could remember him enough. They could show his footage from NXT. He'd get back over, and then he could have safe matches. Because if he stays in AEW, I mean, he's been injured from a handful of matches, and we don't know what it was that caused his injury, or at least I don't. Maybe
all I know was just that concussion. Yeah. I don't know exactly. I can't remember the spot.
Because that was back in June. The concussion in Forbidden Door that Jay White pinned him.
Yeah, and since then it's been done. Like
because we thought that was leading to a Jay White and Adam Cole program, but
exactly,
scary. I found it quite telling. Regal wanted a. He's not saying great things for Tony Khan. Apparently, he had the agreement when he joined AEW. That's recent news that's come out, is that Regal agreed to work for AEW until Triple H took charge. So, I mean, Regal knew something, is what that says. Regal could smell it coming. You know, he's like, Vince won't be in charge for that long. I hope he recovers too, I will. But I also hope that I never see him back in AEW. If he comes back, I don't know what Bobby... Do they have an easier schedule? Yes. Do they have harder matches? Yes. Are their wrestlers less professional? Yes. Do they have more hardcore stipulations? Yes. Would Adam Cole get away with wrestling a 10-minute match every 3 weeks on Dynamite? No, because they'd have to involve him in a stupid feud that would grow into a stupid tag feud that would grow into a stupid six-man that would grow into anarchy in the arena, and he'd get hurt again. Or he can wrestle a 15-minute match once a month on SmackDown, and if he starts, strength and conditioning, getting back into it, that's when you give him a story. But maybe like once a month, just like, okay, first SmackDown of the month, we're going to have Adam Cole, and he'll have a match against Ricochet, because they've worked together before.
That'd be a smart move.
Triple H needs to bring back Cole. Yeah, I mean, they teased at that. Was it Adam Cole that tweeted it?
Yeah, it was. I think it does work. It does work against the Bloodline now, because obviously the Bloodline are starting to get much more cheers than boos, and that's purely because of it's purely the Sami Zayn effect. But Undisputed Era would 100% be a heel faction against them.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of MJF being on the show, who else could actually be on AEW that they have available to them right now? That means MJF doesn't have to be on the show to draw the ratings. Because quite frankly, if they're going for MJF as the ratings draw, remember they're still not really getting 1 million when he's on the show. And they get 750 to 800,000 when he's not on the show.
I'm not entirely sure really who they use. The
pillars aren't everything, but Tony Khan they are. That's why he hotshots everything. That's why the Wednesday Night War was a thing in his head and his head alone. And Chris Jericho's, because he could use it for popularity.
I think for them purely, I think the pillars is a problem. I think the pillars of AEW are not living up to expectation.
We've wasted 3 of them. One of them wasted himself.
Yeah.
They're ruined. Guevara, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin.
This is true.
Lost. They could have spent the last 3 years building them up, and that could have been their Edge, Cena, Orton, Michaels. I think the 4 that are just there.
I think they missed the trick.
Yeah.
I think they missed a trick on one other person because they just wouldn't give him a serious program. He hasn't worked a serious program since Moxley had his first title reign. Eddie Kingston. They've missed a massive trick on.
Tried to work serious programs. Remember, he had the barbed wire everywhere match with Chris Jericho.
That's not serious. That's awful television.
But they treated it as serious.
I know.
They tried.
Was
Eddie Kingston in the? Yeah, Eddie Kingston was in Blood and Guts and Anarchy in the Arena. So they thought it was a serious feud. We knew it was nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of nonsense, we can now talk about War Games. No, I'm kidding. I actually thought War Games was a really good show. I actually did enjoy it. So we're actually going to talk about the returns first, are we?
Oh, yes, we are.
Okay,
because I called one a couple of weeks ago, but we're not going to start with that one. I slightly feel sorry for him, even though I mugged him off last week.
Again, if Triple H gets him back, the only interesting thing AJ said was Eddie Kingston will never be AEW World Champion. Oh my word. Please, no. Just don't do it.
I would honestly like to see him win it just to shut him up.
Here's the problem. Okay? Eddie Kingston's not very good. His promos, they get over with people.
I think he is actually
a good match Eddie Kingston's had.
I think he's very underrated in the ring.
Who's he had a good match with? Like the match that you hang your hat on and go, yeah, he was brilliant.
The one that I hang my head on.
You're going to say Cody, aren't you?
No. I was actually going to say, look at the first match he had with Moxley. The first match he had with Moxley when he became number 1 contender when Moxley had his first title reign. That 20-25 minute match, even though it was slightly extreme, it was during the lockdown season, the lockdown period. That match was actually very good.
Wait, are you talking about the one where he was wearing like the green singlet?
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Forget the singlets. Forget all that pish.
I know, but like I disagree that the match was very good. But maybe I was just desensitized to Moxley by then.
Moxley at that time,
he'd had some fairly underwhelming matches in that.
Yeah, Moxley was not doing great there as champion. He wasn't doing great as champion at the time. First reign was awful. His second reign slightly better, but
yeah,
when you look
I'd rather not have Eddie Kingston win it. I'd rather it was Darby Allin.
No. As much as I like Darby Allin, no, I don't want to see Darby Allin win that world title.
I'd rather Darby Allin did it because that was like, you know, if you're gonna have one of the pillars, and Darby Allin was put over by Cody, and Darby Allin and MJF, we sort of thought they were two. Hangman Page is almost close. Yeah, I mean, how popular is he going to be though?
Is she all out? Actually,
Revolution was good. His match
as well. Exactly, he was brilliant that tag match.
Maybe I just don't see it. Quite frankly, maybe I'm just blind to the brilliance. Maybe it's that thing where he's lost so much, and it's not like AJ Styles, where like we talk about how, and we'll come on to that, of course. We talk about how often an AJ Styles loses, but AJ Styles already established himself to me. Eddie Kingston was a no one that turned up, had a match against Cody that I didn't like, and then got hired. But again, maybe I just don't relate to that character. Maybe I just don't get
that's understandable.
The promo. Maybe I just don't see it in him. But I do see it in Darby Allin. I see Darby Allin as like the next sort of Rey Mysterio level person if he doesn't kill himself.
He
could be AEW's Rey Mysterio. If you're talking about AEW's popular, I'm not saying he's going to ever be as popular as Rey Mysterio. I'm saying he's a guy who's got a unique look. Half his face is covered, most of it when he writes on the other half.
But there's one problem with it though.
Always the underdog because of his size. He hits moves that the kids like. Does really cool like flips and acrobatic stuff.
True.
And his manager at the moment is Sting, who's another guy in face paint. So I would think that the kids are like, oh, I like the face paint guys. The face paint guys are cool because that was me with Rey Mysterio. He was the mask guy. The mask guy is cool.
But you know me, like you know I love Sting. You know I love Darby Allin. My problem is, and I've spoke about Hook and I spoke about Danhausen a couple weeks ago as well. These guys were built to be something as well, and they were completely thrown under the bus. As much as I would love to see Darby Allin hold the AEW World Title, the fact that he's went so far down, even when he went up against the likes of Brody and all that, they completely shoved it down. And that's why I do feel sorry for him. I don't think he's going to get that title, and I don't think it's the wisest call. I think he's brilliant, though. I've always liked Darby Allin since the very beginning, but I would not have him to take the title of MJF. You know, like, but the crazy thing is, though, is like if MJF ended up being a face, Brody would be the perfect guy to bust him because he's a natural powerhouse and he's believable. Yeah,
absolutely. Anyway, let's get on to WWE returns then. Abel, don't. Just don't
Abel, I love you, man.
Do it.
Oh, brilliant. Kota Ibushi would be interesting to see. Oh, I just thought of somebody to see.
To a point.
I've just thought of somebody who I'd actually like to see win the AEW World Title, but they're never going to do it because they're bloody delusional.
Right, go on then, and then we'll talk about these returns that you want to get into.
I would put the AEW World Title on the Rainmaker.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you know, I'd put the Universal title on Okada. He's not coming. So
he is for me the in terms of WWE, the best in there is like workers wise and all that is Rollins, Styles. Like I've put those guys at that top bracket, just how good they are. Like they're amazing. But for me, the overall best worker in the world, for me, is Okada.
Okada's flawless. I've always preferred Will Ospreay.
You know I love Pentagon Jr., you bastard.
I've always preferred the Will Ospreay matches.
And
they're
good.
Will Ospreay sort of sized up, bulked up, became a heavyweight. I think he's the best wrestler in the world, but it is like neck and neck between him and Okada. Anyway, neither of them are the returns. So, Reece, let's see if we can get you to finish your point on the, or even start your point on the return.
Yeah, true. First of all, I would put the title on him as well because I love Okada. Everyone knows that.
What are you saying about these returns then?
Well, which one do you want to go with first? Because there's one that I called, and then there was one that we both wanted to see. So I'm
go with the one that you called first. Have your moment in the sun.
Okay, a couple of weeks ago, if you go back to one of our shows, it was when Nikki ASH abandoned that stupid superhero gimmick because you can't have a superhero trying to be a villain. It just doesn't work. And she was going stale. When she went back to the crazy look, I said, for the love of WWE, I want to see Eric Young back in WWE because they need an extreme type of worker. I mentioned it as well last week on the preview as well. Before it happened, I said I would like to see either Sami Callihan or Eric Young because it gives you something in a hardcore way to build up the workers in the division, because you can't just have Karrion Kross bullying through everybody. He needs someone on that level, that arc.
No, you absolutely could have Karrion Kross just go through everyone.
You could. But then I also said I would like to see Eric Young. I also mentioned Callahan. I mentioned Eddie Edwards, either in WWE or in AEW, because they need to get some good workers in there that have slightly different style. Funny how 5 days later, I mentioned after Eric Young, somehow Eric Young is now back in WWE. So some grizzly bugger has been watching our shows and decided to re-sign Eric Young. So all I'm going to say is I claim every bit of credit for it. I claim it all.
Okay, yeah. So there you go. You've had your glow. Of course, Eric Young is back in WWE. It's one of those ones that I don't know. We'll find out. There was another one last night on SmackDown, which was a bit, I don't know. We'll find out. We'll find out. It was unexpected.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk about my problem with it first, though.
Go on.
Because it was the second, maybe third time on SmackDown last night where babyface had rushed heels despite being outnumbered.
Yes.
It was definitely the second. It may have even been the third. And when it was like, here's so-and-so, and she's going to get attacked by damage control, and this isn't going to be that great. And then Tegan Knox came down. It was Liv Morgan. That shows just how forgettable the other woman is. So Liv Morgan comes down to basically interrupt damage control. Gets in the ring on her own. So Liv Morgan looks like an idiot. And then Tegan Knox comes down. And I was like, okay, that's a nice surprise. Welcome back, Tegan. Hopefully her knee is better. Hopefully her everything is better.
She looks so poor. Like her look, I don't like it.
Yeah, but it's fine. When you return, the main thing is, wow, Tegan Knox is back. That sort of thing. You know, she is a very good wrestler. Whether she still has it, we'll find out. But from what I saw of her before, watched it on NXT, watched it before that. Was she on NXT UK before?
I don't think so.
I don't know if she ever did that. She was in the Classic, but then I think she just went
It was purely Classic in NXT when she was with Dakota Kai, and obviously Kai turned on her and became the better of the two, which everyone pretty much expected. Yeah,
but Tegan Knox is great. And then I thought they were doing, Damage Control are going to beat her down as well. And it had real Emma vibes about it. Like, I can't think this is what Emma returned to do. And if it is, if Emma returned to get, like, beat a couple of times by... No, I'm remembering it now, Abel. I don't think she ever did. But NXT, she was certainly great. The problem with the other sort of thing is, so Tegan Knox got attacked, and then Tegan Knox and Liv Morgan stand tall over damage control because Liv Morgan got a kendo stick, so that's good.
Checking now. I'm just double checking now.
Emma returned 2 or 3 weeks ago. In fact, it was a while longer than that. Ronda Rousey had the open challenge, and I remember thinking it was going to be Charlotte Flair, and it ended up being Emma. Just totally out of the blue. Emma's lost to Ronda Rousey and lost to Shayna Baszler. And it's almost like, stop bringing people in if you don't have a plan for them. If the whole thing is they're going to be fed to Ronda and Shayna, use a jobber. Why hire a named jobber? Like, why bring someone back who's just going to lose all the time? And then, the other thing that I didn't know, apparently Emma and Madcap Moss are a real-life couple.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Greg told me that last night while we were watching SmackDown. I was like, oh, okay. Cool. And, it doesn't do anything. It's not going to elevate Madcap, and it's not elevating Emma, because Emma's first. And if you want to do like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, sort of beat Emma down, have Emma return first and win her first match. It's kind of just an unwritten rule for returns, for debuts. Have them win their first match so I care. So if they lose their first match, I'm like, all right, you're here now. Join the pile, And I just hope it's not the same thing with Tegan Nox. I hope Tegan Nox gets a chance this time.
I agree.
The more people that return to the women's division, I just wish Toni Storm wasn't tied into AEW. But unfortunately she is. Though for how much longer, we don't know, because that seems to be a wild and wacky world.
A few others have won out of that women's division onto WWE and one from Impact, which you know really well. I double-checked. She did do a couple of episodes NXT UK, but that was just because she was feuding with Kaylee Ray when she was champion at the time. That was basically it. Nothing else happened after that. Several injuries over the past couple of years, which we knew.
She's had really it's been like consistent knee problems, hasn't it?
ACL as well, and we know she had she does have one of the coolest NXT gimmicks though, side gimmicks, and that was Lady Keane. I always thought that was just badass.
Yeah, will they do it on the main roster though? Because I think when they end up in what was it, Knox County, if they end up anywhere near that again,
you'll get Lady Keane. That would be cool to see though.
I mean, the fans there won't understand it, but the fans that know will know. But yeah, so what did you think of her overall look though? Because I will say, for starters, I thought the fact her hair has got more colours in it than her personality is quite interesting. But whoa.
Yeah, I like Tegan Nox, but I don't think she needs all that colour in her hair. I only like all that colour on one, and that's Jeff Hardy, because it suits him. He suits all that. Tegan Nox.
Maybe that's a new thing.
What, mental?
She'll be Jeff Hardy. And that'll be the thing. She's now channeling Jeff Hardy. She'll be, she'll come out dancing and everything like that. She was in ripped jeans as well, so I might not be wrong. I think I might be wrong. No, the hair was an interesting look. I don't think she needed it.
Yeah, but I like the fact it was all full on in her face though. She was full in your face. I like that side to her though, and that's what I did like. Will we see more of it? I'm not sure what to expect, but what I do see though is, I know I've been quite critical of Liv Morgan at times, because I said her first title reign was extremely boring and I wanted Shayna Baszler to end it. Shayna Baszler looked fantastic on SmackDown last night, and I like the fact that she walked off sniggering, saying it took 3 people to get rid of me. I did like that. Classic heel. Who needs Rousey? She doesn't. But I did like the smugness of it, the way the approach. Raquel Rodriguez, she doesn't care. Rodriguez is nothing to her. But I am liking to see that there's when you look at Damage Control though, in the sense where they need something to go up against them, you could see a potential interesting tag team between Morgan and Tegan Nox. It could
Damage Control on SmackDown.
Say that back again.
Why were Damage Control on SmackDown?
That's a good question. I
know the women's tag champs can go back and forth and do whatever.
I think it's based on what Bayley said though, where they don't rate anyone in the SmackDown Women's division. The SmackDown Women's division needs Damage Control.
And that's
I think
great.
that might be the case.
Maybe they're now just all cross-brand then.
Possibly.
I mean, Bayley should have beat Liv Morgan.
Yes, we
Jeff Hardy
definitely.
versus Jeff Hardy. Loser loses hair match. Yeah, I mean,
I
can
like Jeff
someone
Hardy.
stand in for Jeff Hardy? Can we get like one of the Mexican minis and dress them like Jeff Hardy?
Yeah, we can't have Jeff Hardy lose his hair.
We can't have Jeff Hardy in a ring again. But that's besides the point.
I think we could, but nothing to
Bailey should have won the SmackDown Women's title off Liv Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're now going to put Bailey on SmackDown, she's still not going to beat Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, I think it's obvious it's going to beat her now.
The Raw Women's Champion's still Bianca Belair. So what's going on? You know, why are they there? I just feel like Damage Control, they've got the women's tag belts. They're currently babysitting that burden. And Bailey's got nothing to do.
I think Bailey's eyeing up the SmackDown competition to actually maybe I can do something on that roster. But I don't see much happening. I'm not sure because Charlotte Flair is due to return back very soon. So Bailey don't get so.
As soon as Charlotte comes back, Ronda and Charlotte's your program for Mania. Charlotte will go through Shayna Baszler to get to Ronda Rousey.
Half of the program, but that's.
Are you doing a triple threat then? Oh,
fatal 4-way at WrestleMania.
So what you think? Charlotte, Bailey, Ronda, and Shayna.
As much as I want Bailey in that match, no, I don't think it's going to be Bailey.
Liv?
Rousey, Baszler, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch.
Ooh.
Because they are still looking to put Becky in another program with Rousey as well at WrestleMania.
I know.
I don't want to see a triple threat rematch. I want to see Baszler have a
and Ronda needs to happen though.
Yeah,
and
but
the whole thing was they've done it once, and Ronda won by DQ, and then they wanted to do it again, but the fans were going to boo it out the building.
Yep.
So they had to put Becky in there, and they had to put Becky over. This is a match WWE won, and they're in the situation on SmackDown where they just have to not introduce anyone else. Charlotte may go for Bianca. I mean, it would make sense, but they're not usually that conscious of the fact that Charlotte's going to get booed. Because, mind, we were meant to cheer her. When she was feuding with Ronda, we were supposed to cheer for Charlotte. And
it didn't work.
You know, it didn't work. Because
I think they go
uncheerable.
Yep. Unless you're Billy. No offense, mate.
I'm sure she'll get a big pop when she returns. But see, when she tries to be like all sincere babyface, she'll be like, that isn't you.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I think purely for them, I think they cannot keep Baszler with her all the way up to WrestleMania and have her do nothing. It'd be very unfair on Baszler because she's actually working really well as a solid heel right now. And I still say she should be SmackDown Women's Champion. Charlotte obviously is going to be there WrestleMania. Hollywood, she's already over. She's already got a gimmick. It's already resonated with fans. And Charlotte Flair, whether you like her or not, she does bring ratings. Nobody can argue that.
She does. She absolutely does.
Rousey is a prick, but Rousey is a draw. And Becky Lynch is already another massive draw. They're going to include her at WrestleMania.
But I feel like if you have Charlotte versus Ronda, who's getting cheered? But I feel like that's the match WWE won. And the problem is they can't put either of them in a position to get cheered. And it's Charlotte Flair for her character work, and it's Ronda Rousey for what people know she's like away from WWE.
Rousey versus Charlotte Flair equals Triple H versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 32.
I think it's just because both girls are getting booed. You're like, well,
stink the place out.
Yeah, you know. So I don't really care. You'd have beat the traffic chant. I don't think it'd go that far because it wouldn't be the main event.
You'd have something. I think we already know what we're getting for Raw, though. I think Raw, if they don't do it, we'll be disappointed. Raw has to be Belair versus Ripley at WrestleMania.
Well, interestingly enough, we thought they were going to set that up on the War Games, and they didn't.
True.
The War Games surprised me because the stare down in the women's War Games. I can agree with that, but I also, they've got the Charlotte Flair shaped obsession where she has to be involved. I think Ronda versus Becky is a good match, And I think Becky defeating Ronda is ultimately where you go with that, because the idea, once again, should be that the wrestler claims the wrestling title off the MMA person. But that's been the way I've always felt, because I feel like we should celebrate wrestlers in wrestling and MMA stars in MMA. And if you're a washed-up crybaby MMA star, don't come over to wrestling thinking you can be entertaining at that. Ronda Rousey got over because she was paired with Kurt Bleeding Angle. The minute she got to talk for herself and act for herself, she was nothing. She was only getting cheered after because she was feuding with Charlotte. And people won't cheer Charlotte the same way they won't bloody cross the motorway on their, hands and knees.
Or the electric scooter. Which I did. But absolutely, and I completely agree. And that's why, the only credible, and this is what I said a couple of weeks ago, when I said Shayna Baszler makes more sense as a women's champion than Ronda Rousey, not because she's a bigger draw than Rousey. Rousey's a bigger draw than Baszler. Baszler has transitioned like Kurt Angle. Ronda Rousey has transitioned like Ken Shamrock. She still treats everything like a shoot. She can work a decent match. But she treats it like a shoot.
I haven't seen a Shayna Baszler interview where she's been like, "Oh, I'm here playing around with the girls." Shayna Baszler seemed to respect the business from the minute she was in NXT. And I didn't really like her at first, but it grew on me. I was like, oh no, she's actually all right. She's actually good at this. And then when she got on the main roster, they paired her with Nia Jax. They gave her the, okay, we don't know what else to do with you, have the women's tag belts. They made her run away from a doll, and they killed her. So I'm glad that there's a bit of resurgence. But what I was surprised by was the lack of Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley stare down in the Women's War Games. Because the big stare down, and Greg said it to me, when we were watching it, he was like, the stare down, I think, is between Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
and that could happen. That was the big moment. That was the one people were waiting for. I'm surprised by that, because are we forgetting who the champion is?
I think that was. I wonder if that was purpose.
Really sorry for Bianca Belair. I truly do, because I think she's fantastic. I think she has been one of the wrestlers of the year. I think she's been entertaining 9 times out of 10. Her hardcore stipulation matches were a bit rubbish.
Yes.
But that stipulation letting her down. Her actual in-ring work and hitting the KOD on a ladder and doing cool stuff like that is obviously fine. It's the stipulation that gets in the way of the matches being good. When she's had 1v1 affairs in the ring against people who've cared, and that's mainly been Becky Lynch, to be fair, for the year.
Yep.
But, it's been really good. Her performance in the 6 Women at Clash was pretty good as well, because she was over, unlike Alexa Bliss, who wasn't really. But the problem is, I think they've forgotten who their champion is, and they're building a match between Becky and Rhea, and it's great, right? It's great. I've said before, I want these feuds where it's just 2 people who don't like each other, and it doesn't have to be for a belt. We had the Matt Riddle Seth Rollins feud, one of the feuds of the year. Seth Rollins and Cody wasn't over a belt at all.
Exactly. But it's going to be very soon.
Feuds that have just been built well. The Cross Drew McIntyre thing was built well. Okay, they didn't do it well, but they built it well.
Yep.
So if that's what we're doing between Becky and Rhea, great. Who's Bianca facing?
Maybe, I don't know, because they can't have a repeat of going back to Bayley.
It can't be Bayley.
It kills it.
Is it going to be another member of Damage Control? I feel like that creates a superiority complex between those two. I feel like they'd then risk splitting up Kai and Sky.
Which is what I did think last week as well. It could start to happen, but
Kai and Sky is too close to Kai and Ty. I might not want to call them that anymore.
I'm not. I'm not sure really.
Is it heel Bliss?
Possibly.
Probably the only thing that could be left.
She was the only one apart from Solo Sikoa that actually didn't look happy when their teams won their respective War Games matches.
Solo Sikoa is an interesting being. We will talk about Solo.
He is fascinating. But in terms of a women's perspective, Alexa Bliss was on the winning team and she looked like she just did not care.
Yeah, does she tie into the Bray Wyatt stuff? If she ties into the Bray Wyatt stuff, she'll be on SmackDown.
I think there's only one other option then. But you have to turn. You have to turn her heel, though.
Mia Yim.
No.
Asuka.
Yes.
Yeah. How are you going to turn Belair heel, though?
Not turn Belair heel. You turn her heel.
Turn Asuka heel.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I think I said it not too long ago, if you can remember. I
never considered that. Because she was last heel with the
with Io Sky, funnily enough, when
she
was
Warriors.
Yep.
I think Kairi Sane that was.
Sorry, Kairi Sane. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to correct you before people were like, "Oh, you've mistaken them." No, it's fine.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you either turn Asuka heel because she's sick of not being treated in the right manner about her matches.
Mm-hmm.
Just great matches, but she could put a spin on that, or the EST actually says, well, you know what? I am all this. I am all that. I need to start proving a lot more. She turns heel by just going through every single member she was a team of.
Maybe she cuts like a really arrogant promo. Where she's like, I've beaten everyone and I'm ready for anything. And that's when Asuka could come out. Because the whole thing is no one's ready for Asuka. That could be a way to do it. Yeah. I would quite like to see Asuka backstage. And they like pre-tape this, obviously, and they can go as stereotypically Japanese as they like in terms of imagery. If they want to show a dojo, if they want to show like sensei uniforms and stuff, WWE are good at doing that without it looking racist. If you think of like the Jai Lee stuff,
unless you're Akira Tozawa.
Yes, of course, there have been things that they've gotten horribly wrong, but I thought the Jai Lee stuff was handled pretty well.
I like that.
It was a bit weird on NXT, but no one was going, "Oh, that's racist," like.
And I also like that.
So they can go with like classic Japanese stuff, and then she can cut the promo in full Japanese.
Yeah.
And you can subtitle it, and she can basically be saying, when the world closed down, I kept this company alive. I was there every week. I was doing this. I was doing that. And no one seemed to appreciate it. I'd like to see that sort of work shoot. Because you've got to imagine some part of us holding on to it. Like, I've been disrespected. Becky Lynch said, all I do is make soup. Just hold on all those grudges and lay them bare. And almost a bit like an Edge promo.
Which
where obviously not in Japanese, but obviously when Edge sits in the back and like the dark light sort of half covers his face. So you don't know if Edge is face or heel here. If you remember the build-up between Edge and AJ, Edge attacked AJ Styles first.
Yeah.
They were trying to make it that Edge was the heel.
Correct. I think the other thing you could do, though, is...
They could do that faster.
The only other thing they can do is they can theoretically turn Bianca Belair heel. And the best way to turn her heel is using that gimmick. The EST, if you're supposed to be the strongest, the fastest, the quickest, like all of that, you don't say that as a babyface. Remember I said that, was it a month ago, a couple of months ago? I said that gimmick is so arrogant. That cannot be a babyface gimmick. Because that's you saying you're better than everybody. If you're better than everybody, you're not the good guy.
Yeah.
That's not humble. That's arrogant. That's ignorant to
everyone around. It's because they've shown it in like the Athletic light, and they have that whole video where she'd bulimic, is it?
Yeah, and she carried Otis as well on her shoulders, which was
she had the whole thing about like, she was like, get well soon and stuff, and we believe in you.
Yeah.
You've almost seen like too much of her now that turning her heel is going to be really tricky to do.
I think
at least while she's champion. She could go away and come back as a heel. Asuka does need another long reign as champion, just as a thank you, because she was one of the most entertaining in the pandemic.
She was excellent. She was excellent. I think another one could have. I think there's another option you could have as champion now, considering she's went back to the gimmick that she should have been from the beginning. Cut me wrong, but I actually think Nikki Cross would be a good champion now. This time around, under this gimmick now, where she's got no loyalty to anybody.
It feels transitional.
Well, I don't want to see her do it by winning Money in the Bank again. I want to see her actually. She gets the clear cut result.
She's just the sort of champion that would have it for a month.
With this gimmick where she's got no loyalty to anybody,
yeah,
where where she attacks anybody she feels like. She's already attacked Bianca Belair a couple of times as well. There is a potential possibility you could have Nikki Cross as a champion. She doesn't have to be champion for a year. She doesn't have to be champion for 6 months. But the gimmick she's got, you could get 3-4 good months out of her, up to maybe SummerSlam. I think she would, up to SummerSlam or maybe just after, you've got someone there to actually work around with a gimmick that you just can't trust, where even when she gets beat, it sets her down even to an even further crazier downward spiral, where she just comes back, she wants her title, she doesn't win it back. So what does she do? She beats the living shit out of the champion, where Money in the Bank's actually used properly again, where you've got the champion doesn't reclaim it. The former champion doesn't reclaim her title, but you've got somebody, say, like Asuka or someone who wins Money in the Bank, takes it from the champion, whoever that is. I think you could get that. But that's if they're willing to do it. But I think Nikki Cross could potentially decide it in that manner, because we know how crazy her gimmick is. A long downward spiral after losing something she would covet would make her more interesting character. That's why I would have her as another option as champion.
Yeah. So we will drop that and go to the second match. Mad Lad. Yeah, absolutely.
I would. I'd have
we go on to the second match where a certain guy broke his duck because AJ Styles finally won a singles match on pay-per-view for the first time since he beat Humberto Carrillo in 2019.
Yep.
Which is a crazy long streak, but it also shows like you can remain over if you're a legend like AJ Styles.
Yeah.
But he did need this win. He 100% needed this win. And the OC mattered because, of course, the OC brawled with the Judgment Day, meant that they all got kicked out.
Which
we did say we wanted it to happen, and it did happen that way. Super happy about that. So then we got the 1v1 that we wanted. Did you still feel like they were holding something back?
I think they missed one additional trick. But it didn't really help that they were in War Games the previous match. I still think they could have had the presence of Mia Yim and Rhea Ripley in some way in this match. But I actually thought the match was well worked. And shout out to Abil for trying to change his prediction. But obviously I denied him. But that was one of the most entertaining matches on the night. It was well worked. It was choreographed. I think they could have added a little bit more, but it depends on what you could have added. It's not really easy to call because both men worked extremely well. And I love the fact that they kept countering the same moves against each other and similar moveset, using the 1916, using the final cut, like all of that.
Yeah, you see some very innovative stuff from the two of them, and they gel so well.
Yeah,
I hope they were holding something back because they're going to have a match at the Rumble, and I think I want it to be an Iron Man match.
Depends on what they do.
If they're not just going to have another singles match, the match AJ won with me.
I love the fact they brought back the New Japan gas mask. It was great to see.
Here's the thing: was Finn's mask an entire just like tie-in to the that game that they were advertising right before it? I was like, and like they added this period. I was like, and Finn's gonna come out in a mask, dressed as the guy from the game, and then he actually had one of those full coverage masks. I was like, okay, I said it was a joke.
Which, by the way, I'm also getting from a PlayStation 5.
I have no idea what the game is.
It's basically a futuristic situations. It's like there's a few games actually similar like it, but it's a more futuristic space version of Halo. That's
right. I see.
And there's other parts to it as well, like Dead Rising and all that. Like, and
a big old amalgamation, big old joining of the genres. But this was a joining of two of the best of the generation. We were saying it on the preview.
You did.
I think this was a very good match. I think it shows that it's one of the matches that has stood out for me this year from a WWE standpoint. Not to the match of the year level, but I think it was just the occasion of seeing these two lock horns and it being sort of fair. With the Judgment Day gone, there was none of those shenanigans for the last, at very least, 10 minutes. And you just got to see back and forth in the two move sets and AJ being able to reverse things. I don't remember what the move was, but I remember saying, is he going to roll him through into the calf crusher? And he did. And it's just being able to see these little transitional things between Finn Balor and AJ Styles movesets. Where like this move would gel so perfectly into this move. He could catch this and get him into that. And it was technical, it was magnificent. It wasn't a match of the year, but I think if they are holding something back to go again at the Rumble, that's the one you can look for. Because on a show where you have a Rumble, you're not going to have a lot of fundamental wrestling. That could be the one.
Absolutely. And it felt great as well that we got
the feud going that long. Yeah, if they can keep the feud going that long, which there's no reason why they can't. AJ versus Finn, put some stakes behind it. I don't know where Edge is in terms of his return, but if you had just a 30-minute match between those two and they go all out, that would be fantastic. But I thought this was a really good match.
I agree, and I like the fact that it got just about 20 minutes, which is what we had hoped for. It's crazy as well that the difference between the two War Games is a minute and 10 seconds difference, and the women got longer. When in previous NXT iterations, the men were longer by at least 5 minutes. So I like the respect that they had there. The third match, obviously, we weren't too interested on it, but I'm just going to say I thought Shotzi was fantastic, and that's it. That's the only good thing I'm going to say about that match. So I'm going to skip over to the one that shocked me the most.
This was weird. This was really weird. The Austin Theory, Seth Franklin Rollins, and Bobby Lashley triple threat.
I was shocked to hell when that result came in. Like, if you
I know
watching...
it's freaking, by the way, people. I'm pulling a joke. But yeah, triple threat. Well, we were wrong. We know that.
We all were. Nobody predicted Theory to win.
It's just such a weird thing to do.
Yeah, I just don't understand what they're going to do with Seth Rollins that they've taken the title off him when he actually... And first of all, and certainly second of all, he took the pinfall as well. Like, the champion took the pin.
But the way that he did it probably protects that. Obviously, that couldn't happen the other way round.
Yeah.
Because Lashley had to hit the spear.
Yeah. I still think the decision, like, to put if you're going to put the title back on Theory, I think they got it wrong. I know on the watch along I said, and on the previous show I said, it shouldn't be Seth Rollins or Theory taking the covers. It should be Lashley.
Yeah, but what's your thinking on Beyblades?
Beyblades are amazing.
What's your take on Austin Theory, the seemingly human Beyblade now? Because that's what he entered with.
Well,
his
I like
Dawn was Beyblades. And the little video on the barricade and on the ring was all Beyblades. And
I've got the original theme song on my phone, which is also on my Huawei watch as well. I'm not wearing it, but I've got it on my watch, so I can flick through and listen to it. I've got classic theme songs, and that's one of them. I always like the original Beyblade, but I liked it. It was a very interesting spin, and it actually works really well because when you actually think about the Beyblade, they're spinning at high speed based on control of the person who's using them. So Austin Theory's actually putting a spin on his gimmick. He's putting a spin on his career. He's no longer the future. He's the now. He's done a complete U-turn. So he's spun into action.
It's really funny because Beyblades are a thing of the past.
Exactly.
So
and that's even more interesting.
The past of present is the future is the present. It was a good match, but I hated how it ended. Austin Theory's never reminded me more of Dolph Ziggler.
Very true, except he's better than him.
But that bump reminded me of... Drew McIntyre hit the Claymore, didn't he?
Yes.
Seth Rollins had him up. It was was going for the Falcon Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew McIntyre, Claymored Seth, and then Ziggler fell on top of him for the pin.
It was the exact same carbon copy.
It was pretty much that. Lashley hit the spear. Theory crumbled on top of Seth when they fell, and Theory's arm was draped over. And it was a really cool finish. But
was.
it does get you sort of, what now? But at least in an intriguing way. At least you're like, oh, I actually do need to watch where this goes, because what does it mean for Rollins? What does it mean for Lashley? Lashley's apparently going for Brock Lesnar again at the Rumble.
And Rollins has got to get his rematch, which he's going to lose. But does that mean Rollins still gets a WrestleMania match that he deserves?
Does it mean Johnny Gargano turns heel?
No. Not yet.
He's not.
Maybe the Raw after WrestleMania he turns heel.
He could turn heel. The way could be back. There's 3 of them. The 4th is in NXT. You get Loomis involved again.
Could do. Wouldn't be a bad idea.
I just think, you've got all the bits there. Just they were better together than they were apart, except for Johnny Gargano.
There's just one problem.
What?
It did. Yeah, that's very clever. Yeah.
Yes.
There's just one other problem with having the way. There's one other problem. That's another flaming faction. We don't need so many.
But seemingly he likes his factions, old Trips does.
I know, he's such a goon. But we don't need all these factions. We don't need them. And I actually like what Theory's doing now. I like the fact he's changed it around. He's abandoned the mobile phone. He's abandoned all this. He's changing things up. He wants to be more serious.
He's not being Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all I could think of when he came out with the phone.
Yeah, he's being himself, and that's what I like. And I want to see that continue. And I want to see how it goes. But I want to see Rollins rewarded properly for this.
Yeah, and speaking of being himself, Sammy. The main event. There isn't much to say about this, really, other than
it was a good match.
I win the predictions.
No, you didn't.
Because I disagreed with you, no?
But you didn't win. I think
I won it, me and you.
Out me and you, yes,
I
you
won the
Steelchair
prediction, you see. Out me and you. Because I agreed with you to everything and then needed to change something. And went with the bloodline because you don't bet against Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns didn't get the fall.
Yep. Keane went with everything, except Keane actually predicted Team Belair to win the women's one.
All right. Fair enough. That is why he is the channel overlord, as it were.
He wishes. But it was very interesting, that match. And it was actually a really good match.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed the War Games. I do have a slight issue with it. I said Reigns pins Owens, so I was wrong as well, Abel. Don't worry.
Owens to pin Sami Zayn, wasn't it? After the fun enough, I got the spot about Jey Uso attacking Sami Zayn. I got that.
Did you not say Owens pin Drew? Or
no,
am I
said
confusing you and Greg now. Oh, he said. No. I heard someone say that Owens pinned Drew McIntyre, but it wasn't you. It wasn't Greg.
I said there'd be a bust up between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn, and then one of them would get attacked, and then the other would get pinned. And funnily enough, that exact thing happened.
I like the narrative of the sort of proving grounds, though. Like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso had to sort of fight off for that. I love the bit where Roman Reigns went, "No, I'm sending Sami in."
Mm-hmm.
He was like, "Prove it. Prove what you said."
I did like that. That was very clever. That whole dynamic changed that entire matchup at that point.
Yeah. So
but I thought it was fantastic.
Where do we go from there, though?
That's the
based
problem.
on SmackDown, we're still in a Sheamus Reigns program.
Not anymore. It's looking that it's going to be Sami versus Sheamus at the Rumble, I think, and it's going to be Owens versus Reigns. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's superb and everything, but then why did Sheamus and Sami fight last night for us to see the same finish that we see in most Usos matches?
I do think, though, the Rumble, they might give us McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos, though.
But we're getting that now.
Not yet.
It's next week.
No, next week is Usos versus Elias and Riddle. They haven't announced what's happening.
That's Raw. They've already announced. I think it was for next week's SmackDown.
Sheamus just said that he's waiting for them.
Sheamus and Drew versus the Usos.
Has that definitely been confirmed for SmackDown, though?
I think it was announced.
All I saw was Sheamus beating the shit out of the two of them by Shillelagh.
I watched the show. It could be that it was so uneventful that I was just like trying to come up with something. But I think that's what Sheamus said. And then they actually made the match. And I remember, because I turned to Greg and I went, okay, so Riddle and Elias definitely aren't winning then, because they've already built the next match. I mean, we know that Riddle and Elias aren't winning, but way to keep the mystery about it. I don't know what's going on with Riddle and Elias. We don't know. I think it hasn't worked.
I think Riddle will eat a guitar shot.
Here's a problem with Matt Riddle. I think he was just putting the Elias thing as filler for when Orton came back. And if news is to be believed this week, Orton's very, very hurt.
His back is destroyed. I don't want to see him back in WWE
what was
again.
It was back fusion or something.
Yeah, I don't want to see him back in WWE ever again. Working a match, no.
Considering Edge had, triple neck fusion?
I know.
Orton's got back fusion, which isn't... I imagine it's in the same thing as what Sheamus has.
Yeah.
But Sheamus can still work.
Purely for his own career and his life and the fact that he's got his young kids as well, I would rather Orton does the best decision. For me, I would say Orton retires and then Orton gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't want to see him work any, so I've got that experience of a very bad back myself. I don't want to see it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't know what happens with Riddle now. Then I'm sure they can make him entertaining enough.
That's what I'm thinking anyway.
Yeah.
And that's what I would. That's what I would do anyway. I don't want to see him wrestle again. I want him to retire now.
Are you wanting to blow your news now?
Nope. You're first.
Want to go into the quiz, do you?
Yep. And
Orton decided to retire and get his Hall of Fame ring. Yeah, and he seems like the sort of guy that isn't just going to go AEW. So, just...
This might sound a bit...
Call it there. 13-time world champ, I think. So it's not bad, Randy. I think you can accept that. It's a good career. Hall of Famer. Cusp of all-time great.
He should be in the Hall of Fame first before John Cena as well, but that's my opinion.
Well, I mean, he'll have to medically retire before Cena, because Cena might not actually be retired yet.
Oh, he's not, but Cena's done in my opinion anyway.
I wonder if we're still going to get Cena versus Theory, especially now that Theory is the US title. But
I think we might, or we might get Cena versus.
Find out about that, and we'll find out if you are going to pass this week's quiz or not. If you are a regular viewer of these quizzes, you know that Reece is not that great. So, I'm kidding. And guys, it's taken me this long to say it, but apologies. You can probably hear that I've got a cold, but not only is the team in need, I just love talking to you, and I love being wrong in podcast form. So here we are once again. So this quiz has 5 questions, but 2 of them are match cards. Which are your favourite?
Thought so.
2 of them are match cards. 3 of them are then just questions. They are on my phone. The call is also on my phone. So if I check out for a second, I'm just reminding myself of the question.
How many points?
Well, your first one is worth 5 points. And your second one is, I think, 8. Could be 9.
Okay.
Let me check that.
So that's either 13 or 14 currently. This is so it's over 20 points anyway, or it's out of 20.
It'll be 5, 8, and then you've just got 3 1 markers.
Okay,
so 3 do you want to start with the pay-per-views, or do you want to start with the 1 markers?
So we've got 3 1 markers plus a 5 marker plus, is it 8 points or
It's
9?
It's out of 16, I think. Yeah. Yeah. So it's
points,
a 5 marker, an 8 marker, and then 1, 2.
Points.
So out of 16. Out of 16, people. Out of 16.
We'll just go through like full order, like straight down. Like I'm okay with either or, I don't mind. But I've got mine like 1 to 5, so that's mine there. And I was just testing my pen, so that's a wee squiggle. But I am good to go, and I'm in full screen, so I'm ready when you.
Perfect. Here we go. We'll start with your 1 markers, and we'll end on your pay-per-views.
Okay.
So, question number 1. At which year's Olympic Games did Kurt Angle win the gold medal with, quotes, a breaking neck?
That's easy.
I felt like you needed a good start for this week.
And I'll name the state as well.
If you can name the state, even better.
I can name the whole area because Mark Henry was actually at that Olympic Games as well. But nobody talks about that. Mark Henry won the world's strongest man at that event.
Oh, I didn't realise they did that at Olympics.
Yep. And the reason I know the state as well, because obviously he wrestled Sting in that same environment at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I'm just checking, of course, for comments coming in. Abu had his answer in. We'll go through the answers at the end, people. So I will move on to question number 2.
Yep.
And this question has a leeway of 10.
Okay.
How many days did Jon Moxley's initial AEW World Title reign last? You've got a leeway of 10 days either side.
I'm just asking, just because to remind me, Kenny Omega is the longest reigning champion, eh?
I will confirm that.
That's fine, because I'm just basing it off his reign minus a certain value.
I will confirm that is true. But yeah, so how long was Jon Moxley's initial AEW World Title reign with a leeway of 10 days either side?
Can't remember the exact number, but I do have a number.
Fine. Just waiting on Abu to put his answer in. If he beats you one more time, he gets to keep you.
Willie hell.
Let's see. We got an answer. Okay. So that's the question there. Okay. Question number 3 is the one that I need to quickly go sneak a reminder for. At WrestleMania 5, who won their first championship in the WWF by defeating the Ultimate Warrior? An emphatic punch of the air right there.
And I do believe I know what champion it is, and also
Hi there, Marcus. Reece would say hi as well, but he's currently on full screen for the quiz. I hope you're doing well this Saturday evening.
If you want to get involved in the questions, Eilidh will kindly repeat all of them for you if you wish. Just get all 3 answers in the chat. But I do believe I know this one because the Royal WrestleMania 5 was 1989, because obviously the Ultimate Warrior faced Hogan at WrestleMania 6 in 1990. So I do know who won this match because it's actually one of my favourite Intercontinental champions.
Okay.
And I know you didn't have to tell me about the title, but I know for a fact WrestleMania 5, I know it's the title.
Okay. We will go.
Warrior will never held two titles.
Marcus, if you do want to get involved, I will quickly run through the questions as Abu answer comes in for question 3. So, question number 1 was, at which year's Olympic Games did Kurt Angle win his gold medal with, quotes, a broken freaking neck? Question number 2, with a leeway of 10 days either side, how long was Jon Moxley's initial AEW title reign? And question number 3, the one that I've just asked, who won their first title in the WWF at WrestleMania 5, defeating the Ultimate Warrior? And we're going into Reese's favourite type of question, the maker or the breaker, or the haymaker. It is match cards.
I think so far I have 2 out of 3. I think I've got the Moxley reign one wrong, but I know I have the question 1 and 3 correct.
So match card number 1 is out of 5, and it begins with this one. Bret Hart defeated Skinner. Bret Hart defeated Skinner.
Title or non-title?
It's for a title.
I'm thinking, I don't think that's WWE title. I think that's Intercontinental title. So that could be either 1991 or it could be 1992. Do you want me to give my guess aloud, or do you want even though write mine down, or how do I do it?
You buzz in on these, otherwise I can't.
My opening guess, I'm going to say Royal Rumble 1991.
Yeah, remember, people, this is a buzz-in round, so remember that as well. Abu, Marcus, and anyone else in.
I'm going to write down mine
put
each
your
time.
Guess as you see it. Okay, so Abu, I appreciate you put the year. You have to name the pay-per-view. So I need to know the specific match card.
Actually, that's not my first guess because I just remembered something. That wouldn't have been it. No, that's not my official guess. No, because that's not physically possible. My first guess, is after that because of how things transpired. I'll say my first guess is Survivor Series 1991.
Okay.
It's probably incorrect anyway, but yeah, Survivor Series 1991 is my first guess.
Yeah, I'm looking for a Bill putting a show in, but I can reveal to you, Reece, that that's not right.
Okay.
Good.
It's because of Mr. Perfect. That's the problem. So that's your match. So that means, because I've got that guess wrong, that means that's now at 4 points. So that means I need to go into match 2.
Yes. So now it'll be out of 4 points. And match number 2, Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth defeated Jake Roberts.
Defeated Jake Roberts.
Yarp.
Oh.
And Abu, I can confirm to you that your first one is incorrect. And Clark Griswold there, nice to see you, bud. says, anyone who gets that answer, just wow impressive. So can you be wow impressive? With match number 2 on the card, Randy Savage with Miss Elizabeth defeated Jake Roberts. And I've not said already, Abu, your first guess is also incorrect. So you're still in the question here if you want to put another guess down, this time at 4 points.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think because that's actually really difficult. I'm thinking there is one other pay-per-view, but I don't know if it became an official pay-per-view in that year.
Well, it says, I think I know the event, but no way know the year. Interesting that indeed.
I wonder if it's...
The thing is, you think you've cracked down on a year as well. Abu thinks he's cracked down on a year as well. But I need the show. I'm very specific about this round. I'm very picky. Abu has put his answer in. Reece, you can't read it. I can confirm to you, Abu, that you will have 4 points. Very, very impressive.
I am going to go for another year. Sorry, I'm going to go for the same year, but I've just thought of another pay-per-view actually.
Go on,
I'm going to go for this Tuesday in Texas. 1991.
4 points. 4 points. You and Abu just inseparable.
And I'm right in saying main event is Hulk Hogan versus The Undertaker, which Hulk Hogan won, and then the title would then be vacated leading up to the Royal Rumble 1992.
That would be correct, yeah. Yeah.
So that's 4 points, I'll take that.
Now, on to the grand finale, the maker or the breaker, indeed, because we have ourselves another match card, this time out of 8, and this one is tricky. I need to tell you people right now, I could almost see the light bulb. Can we tag team this? Clark, you can join in with whoever you like, except for me, because I have the answer in front of me. I could almost see the light bulb go off over Reece's head. Yeah, it's true, actually. And Abu was saying, I just had a feeling it was a pay-per-view that was rare. That is indeed the case. I've chosen a deep cut to get us started on match card 1 of 2. I'll be honest, Reece, I just try and trip you up these days. No more so than this 8-match card. So out of 8, but we're starting with the Bad Street Boys defeated Simon and Swinger.
The who?
That's the face I wanted. That's the face I wanted.
Say that again.
The Bad Street Boys defeated Simon and Swinger.
Pass. fuck that. Pass. I'm just refusing to guess. Pass. Next match.
We need to clip that. You're just raising your eyebrows and going.
That's just disgusting. Next one.
I'm not sure it gets much easier.
I don't care. Next. It's not even funny. This is horrible.
I find it really funny.
Oh yeah, you're the co-host and quizmaster. You're allowed to find it funny. I find this deplorable.
Deplorable. Okay, match number 2 is Easy Money defeated Balls Mahoney.
I don't know, ECW site, like, I'll say they had a cyber pay-per-view, but I can't remember the second part. It's a cyber pay-per-view I'm thinking of. It's the last ever pay-per-view from 2000.
Right.
I can't remember the exact name. It's cyber something, because I know that pay-per-view, Sabu. I think Sabu. It was Rhino won the last ECW title, I think.
You know what's really frustrating is,
I
think you know the show, but I don't know if you'd ever get the title of it.
It is cyber something, though, isn't it?
It's not.
I think I might know the title, but I don't think I'd ever get the show.
Yeah. So.
And I didn't watch a lot of classic ECW either, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to throw another guess at the title, or should I read the next match? Because the thing is, like, you seem to know the show, you just can't get the title of it.
I don't think it's gonna. I know there is a cyber something in there. They didn't have a lot of other diverse pay-per-view names, which doesn't help.
It's nothing to do with cyber.
Is this an ECW pay-per-view?
It is.
I'm never gonna get this.
This is the thing. You know the show. You've named the match on it. Abu's got the show's name.
Are you telling me that? Are you telling me I actually?
It's incredible. Abu has the show's name.
Google helps.
And you don't, but you know exactly what show I'm at.
Yeah, because Rhino won the world title. It was the last ever EC.
That's not right.
So what bit did I get then?
You said it was their last show of 2000.
Oh.
And that's how I know you're right. But I don't think you're ever going to get the title of it as long as you live.
Well, it's not going to be December to Dismember. I mean, that'd be funny.
No.
But
if it was that, I would keep going. If it was that, I would keep going. So I'm going to give you a clue in terms of the title. I'm going to take a point off you against Abu, because he's actually named the show.
Okay.
But it's to do with that. Now, that might be showing in reverse for the viewers, but...
Is that based off Miracle on 34th Street?
It's... Yeah.
So it's a Christmas-related pay-per-view?
Kind of. It's a really strange one that I've picked. And I will go through my reason for it. So, Reece, you can mark yourself with... Because you did get it after 2, I'll give you 7, because you knew exactly the show, you couldn't name it.
Yeah, not easy.
But if you and Abu tie, Abu will take the win, because he could name the show. The show was Massacre on 34th Street.
There was one word that was busting my head the whole time. Why did I think of Massacre?
If we kept going with that, you just weren't going to get off naming like the wrong ECW show. When you said it's the last show they did in 2000, I was like, you know this. You were wrong in that Rhino won the world title, because Rhino actually won the world TV title.
Yeah.
The main event was Steve Corino defeating Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible.
Yeah.
In the three-way dance. Yeah, so you did know the show, in fairness. Let's go through the answers here.
So how many points How many points exactly am I taking on that one?
Clark's like, I just googled and it still didn't help.
So who won the world? So who won the ECW title that night then?
Steve Corino retained it
Against
Jerry Lynn and Just Incredible.
Oh shit match. The 2000 Cyber I was thinking of it. Cyber Slam.
Yeah, but it wasn't that.
Yeah, Just Incredible won. Just Incredible won the title, and then he lost it on the same night as well.
Some would say I've been too kind there, Reece. Some would say that I should have just kept reading the matches for you to know exactly the pay-per-view, but not be able to name it.
So what exactly are you giving me on
compassion?
Am I getting
I think because I gave you the 34th, I'll give you 6.
Okay, so that's currently I'm sitting on 12 points.
Yep, and that will be your final score.
Not one, because I'm going to get 2 out of the 3 possible 1 markers as well. So right now I could end on 14.
You don't know that. Now let's see. So I just remembered I haven't revealed the answers to the 1 markers. So people, for your pay-per-views, you had this Tuesday in Texas, and Massacre on 34th Street, which well done. And he says the only reason he knows is because he watched Rhino win the ECW World TV title the other day. So, that is quite the fortunate turn of events. The reason I chose these 2?
Christmas related.
They both took place on December 3rd.
Not bad.
So I remember I've done that once before with the Iron Man. I picked a SummerSlam that took place on the same day.
That's right, you did.
Of a different year. So yeah. Let's find out then. So in which year's Olympics did Kurt Angle win his gold medal?
It was 1996. It was at Atlanta, Georgia.
That's correct.
Of course it's correct.
You'll be absolutely stunned to know. I'll go with this one next because you were more confident about it. Who won their first WWF title, or the first title in WWF at WrestleMania 5, defeating Ultimate Warrior?
I picked Ravishing Rick Rude, accompanied by Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Ravishing Rick Rude is correct.
Told you I knew.
And Abu also got that one.
The pose down at the Royal Rumble in 1989
happened
first.
3rd of December. Interesting. Yes. And the one that could break. It is the John Moxley question. How many days have you written down?
I want to know how many Abu done first.
Abu put 50.
Abu put 50 days.
Abu put 50.
I thought his reign was longer than that. Because he became... I put 257. Because he had his first reign, I remember, was quite a decent reign. But I don't...
I mean, neither of you are going to get a point, but you're much closer than he is.
Obviously. It's 250, isn't it?
277.
I was 20 days off.
If you said 267, you'd have got it.
I was 20 days off, bastard.
But 257 is not enough. 277 was the answer. So people, if you're following along to whatever this quiz has become this week, with me giving an answer away, shocking. 277. So if you've answered anywhere in between 267 and 287, give yourself that point. So, Reece, you said you got 14. You got.
Sorry,
14.
I got my things wrong. It's out of so it's out of 16. I got 12.
You got 12.
Yeah, I thought I would get a little bit more.
Oh yeah, because you dropped Tuesday in Texas, Mark.
Yeah,
you dropped a Mark. And then you dropped 2 in the impossible to name pay-per-view.
Aye.
Yeah.
I think you should. I still think you should have done a leeway out of 20. But hey ho.
Yeah, I mean, you would say that. You would say that.
Of course I would.
But yeah. So, I'm awful with dates, but I got Angle in 96. Yeah, you do deserve a cookie, Clark. Treat yourself. It is the weekend after all. Reece, you can leave full screen and you can, well, I suppose, announce and send the viewers home. But thanks, everyone, for joining in to another quiz that sort of derailed. But you wouldn't know me to be any sort of different quizmaster at this point than one who is too nice.
Absolutely. I'm just waiting for Abul's score.
Abul, I think, got 13.
If he did, I'm going to be annoyed.
Because he got 4 in this Tuesday in Texas. His first guest was Royal Rumble 91.
Yeah.
Which is what you said at first before you changed it to Survivor Series. So, again, it was similar thinking.
Yep. So did he get 7 points on the Massacre one then?
He got 7, potentially 8 on the Massacre one. But I think it was 7 because you literally asked me to skip it.
Yeah, so I pretty much threw us all under that. So yeah, that's 7. So that's 11. If
so
he got
11 and then 12 and then 13 because he got Rick Rude and he got 1996. He was way off on John Moxley. But Abul, you've beaten the Reece again. So as I said, you get to keep him. But Reece, before you go into Abul's property, do you want to make this announcement?
I do actually. This is very important. So this is now. Getting my dates. Yeah, this is the first. Funnily enough, this is December 3rd. We have pretty much nothing major to cover now between the end of the year. So right now we are going to announce, depending on what Eilidh can do as well, either next Saturday, the following Saturday, or Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is a Saturday. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to throw out to this. So next week we can do a classic review show if you want of a classic pay-per-view, which we've not done.
We're going to be on a different day. And I hate to throw us off, but somehow I'm not single. So it's my anniversary with
on
my
this
girlfriend.
Exactly. So we'll be on
Saturday. So we'll be on the Sunday.
Yep. We've got next Sunday, 4:00.
I think. I still don't know what my plan actually is, but we'll find out.
So either the following Saturday or December 24th.
Oh, let's Christmas Eve work. Probably the 17th, to be fair.
You, me, hopefully Abul if he wants to join, Billy if he wants to join, Keane's going to be on this one. We are going to have with yourself as Quizmaster or me. I wouldn't mind doing Quizmaster on this one. It'd be good to have a little bit of relaxation for a change. And just let everyone test out. I can do as a quiz, and you saw what I can do with a massive quiz. I am proposing an end of the year fatal 4-way weekly Steelchair podcast, and the winner will then take on me at the Royal Rumble.
Aha!
We will do. So basically, the winner will take on me at the Royal Rumble for a podcast quiz, and that is going to be done on the day of the Royal Rumble preview. So we will do.
The loser has to be the winner's butler for a year.
Wouldn't mind that, except I'm not going to. But this is what I'm proposing.
Based on your forming these quizzes, mate, I wouldn't put that against Abul.
That's why I'm going to be even more relentless. So, for everyone watching, everyone that's going to watch in the replays, you will have to be on screen. You will need to be on camera, unfortunately. If you don't like it, I do apologise, but I need to make sure no one's cheating. But either not next week, we'll do a classic pay-per-view review stream, which me and Eilidh will come through.
We'll see if we can knock something together for Sunday. And I mean, I Bills won the quiz again, but maybe we should review Massacre on 34th Street.
I'm just tempted now, just for the banter. And I'll watch it as well. I'll just watch it on the WWE Network. But this is what's going to happen. So it's not next week; it's either the following week or December 24th. We will do a full-on podcast quiz. Any of our viewers that watch who have been fantastic to watch, Yeti Boy as well. If you want to get involved, you will need to be on camera. And I will be the quiz master. I will prepare the questions. There will be no arguing. There will be maybe a few little leeways, but it's going to be diverse. So you're going to have from the 2000s, you're going to have questions from the 80s, you're going to have 90s. So thoroughly prepare. The winner will take on me at the Royal Rumble in a Royal Rumble special quiz.
Everyone wants the dream match, Reece. Everyone wants the Steelchair Collide, but I will say right now, it's not going to happen.
And I am noting that as well, that we will do the quiz. So do you want to do it? It won't be on because I'm away on the. I can't do it on the Sunday, the following Sunday, 2 weeks, because I'm going to the Christmas market. So it's either got to be the Saturday of that weekend,
or
it's got to be the following.
We'll work out a time everyone can do. But yeah, no, it's a really cool idea. I like how you've all of a sudden put yourself in the top contender bracket. You know, I like how you can just sort of book yourself there, Mr. Triple H. But
I'm the show host. I think it's only fair.
I think it's fair to say that we're all game for it. So if you wouldn't mind being so cerebral and sending us home happy.
Absolutely. And I will make sure there's plenty of questions, lots of fun, and most of all, a steel chair shot coming your way. Guys, thank you so much for watching. This has been my fantastic co-host, Eilidh. I'm your host, Reece. Stay tuned for more shows on the weekly Armchair, but also we will be back next Sunday, 4 p.m. And you know what? We'll do it. We will review Massacre on 34th Street. We'll do it.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Au revoir, as Andre the Giant said in the 1990s. Bye, guys.